Hello, guys. So I just played another interesting chess match. So I thought maybe I could share. This was a very aggressive style playing, and let's jump into the game. So this I played with a different account of mine. So um, I started having multiple accounts, and some accounts that I don't really care about my rating, and some accounts just for experiment about how the leeches scoring and game matching happens. So this I played against Keras Nisiras. So he plays the white with b4. I play with e5. He plays bishop b2, attacking my pawn here. Then I put my knight to c6 to protect my pawn. Then he immediately attacks my knight. As you can see, it's getting difficult for me to um, protect this pawn here, because I can move my knight here at d4, but then immediately he may push one of his pawn here at e3. Then I'll have to move, and he already developed his pieces, and I'm just moving one piece again and again, so I will be in clear disadvantage. So what do? I actually go for it. I play d4. As I said, he immediately pushes his pawn to drive the knight away, and then I basically give hope for my pawn there, and he punishes me with bishop takes my pawn at e5. Now I start activating my queen at g5. He immediately attacks my queen with his knight f3. 1 2 3, he can take my queen here. I come to a safe spot at g6, and I also, when I moved my queen at g5, I totally forgot that this pawn was unprotected. So he punishes me again, and I'm 2 pawn down. He takes my pawn with his bishop at c7. He has active bishop, and this pawn is already in my territory, and I am a little bit fragile here. Okay, so I block his bishop with my pawn at d6. So he runs away and tries to put his bishop, uh, possibly going back here. Then I activate my other knight here, and he basically brings his bishop at his previous location again, and he's already 2 pawn up, and I am 2 pawn down, and he is pretty well positioned. So immediately go after attacking his bishop here at e4, and he brings his bishop down to d4, but I then just take his bishop anyway with my other knight. With d4, he immediately takes it with his knight, with d4 from f3 to d4. Now I bring my queen here at f6. He now tries to drive away my knight up there from e4. I had to run away. I go to c5. Now he brings his other knight, possibly wanting to come here at d5 center square. His knight is nicely positioned at the center square, the other knight at d4. Now he wants to bring his other knight at d5, which is very dangerous. So I try to block, so that I threaten that I'm controlling this square at d5 with my bishop at white bishop at e6, white square bishop at e6. So he now brings his bishop at e2. I bring my other bishop because that bishop is not doing anything to e7. Okay, he takes away my bishop, which I was already anticipating. I immediately take his knight there at e6. Then he castles. Now I push my pawn. Basically the idea is I want to place my bishop, the black square bishop, at d6 so that I have this diagonal covered. Now he'll probably block this diagonal. Let's see. Okay, he first drives away my knight from c5 or threatens. My knight runs away, comes back to d7. Now he pushes his other pawn, threatening my pawn at d5. And because he may come to e5 and threaten my queen here, and also because I was already understanding that I cannot bring my bishop at d6, which was my intention, and also maybe I can bring my knight here from d7 to f6, so that's why I move my queen to g6. Now he basically threatens to drive away my queen again, so I immediately have to move again, so I go up to g5. So I guess you see I could already go up to g5, so it's probably, yeah, I made a lot of mistakes here. So he takes my pawn, I take it with my pawn. Now the game becomes interesting a little, because even though he is 2 pawn up, seems like my queen, my bishop are in attacking are very close to his king here, so I like in a little bit offensive side. On the other hand, my queen is safely protected here. Well, I mean, he can always bring his rook here at e1 and then pin my bishop here. So that's what he does. He brings his basically his queen to e2. Now this bishop cannot move immediately, so I do the castle on this side, and basically the idea is making all the rooks activate here. So he finds a nice spot down here that was not protected at e6. He brings his queen here. Now he is basically pinning my knight here also, and I basically bring my rook here, kind of wanting to threaten his queen. Now he takes this pawn, and then I think I probably make the best move or the trickiest move of this game. Look at this. I bring my bishop to c5. Now his queen is in trouble. You see, his queen cannot be on this diagonal because of this rook. He cannot take this rook because I'll take it, and his queen cannot go here because that is taken. All 3 squares here is protected by or covered or controlled by this 2 pawn. The only place he can come is basically this square here. Okay, now if he comes to this square, then I can just bring my rook here, and that will be back and forth. Okay, like we can just do back and forth. He just moves his queen back and forth. So he wants to do something interesting. He checks me, but I don't know, I think that's a mistake he makes at this point, because he forget I take with my rook here. Okay, so then um, okay, let's see. Oh, okay, so he basically wanted to sacrifice this knight with the idea that eventually he will take my bishop here. Look, now I cannot move my bishop, he thought, because my king is here, so I lose this bishop here. So that was his idea, and I think he thought that far, and I also actually did not think about it. So that's a good move, at least he thought. But he forgot that I have a check here with my queen. So now now his king is under check. Now what I can do is that I can take it with my queen. So now I could save my bishop, and he lost his knight. Now as you can see, I'm a knight up versus he only took his pawn, and my rooks are more activated. So at this point just the game has flipped, and that's why I probably decided to show this match, because I was almost thinking that I'm gonna lose this match, but the dynamics has completely changed in this match now. So instead of taking my I guess because he's knight down, so he did not want to trade the queen, so he just takes his queen to b3. Then I basically try to bring my rook so that I can continue attacking on to his king. So now he takes this pawn here. I think that was another mistake he made now, so I immediately attack his rook here. Well, now he immediately attacks my rook. Now, what he forgot, that I had some interesting sacrifice here. So I just sacrifice immediately my rook. As you can see, his king can only, the only way his king can do is like his king needs to take my rook, but then I have a check here. Also interesting game I have. And I have a bishop that also, so his king doesn't have many places, many paths to run away. So that was a very interesting sacrifice I made. Now I check with my bishop, and his king is to go away. Now he basically, well, you see, as you can see, if he goes here, that's a checkmate, because I'll just put my rook from d8 to h8. Then that's a checkmate. He can bring his bishop here, but I'll just quickly take his bishop. So he blocks it, so that he knows already that that's a checkmate. So he blocks, but now I play another masterful positioning here. I bring my rook queen here, which is not very obvious, but as you can see, this pawn is pinned, and he cannot take it. And then he'll have to go here. I just take his pawn, and the only place he can go is here. He goes his queen here. Now I can checkmate him in many ways. So I can just, two ways. I can take my queen at h2, that's checkmate, or I can bring my rook. That's the fastest checkmate. I can bring my rook at h8, then he will have to block it here. So I just went for with my queen and checkmate, and I own the game. So this is a very interesting turnaround, and I think I liked how I played at the beginning, even though at the end, even though the beginning was almost like blunders. I made many mistakes, and before this match I already lost 2 other games, so I was kind of not very inspired, but I really enjoyed winning this game. Let's quickly look at what happened again. Yes. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this chess match, and I hope people who don't know how to play chess, you should learn how to play chess, and chess is a beautiful game. And there's so many patterns and so many things to learn through chess. Thank you very much.